And we're recording. All right, so today we're joined by James C. Burns. We've had him on a million times. You might know him from Call of Duty. He played Woods up until recently. Controversial stuff. But you might know him for his YouTube channel, Sarge's Corner. About once a week at the moment. So, how are you getting on, James?
How am I getting on? Can you hear me? Is that better?
You may fix that audio.
How's that? Is that better?
That's way
Yeah,
better.
that's much
Ah,
better.
yeah. I tuned it down. It's like that thing got a little hot with that music thing. I'm good, man. Been just really focused on slowing things down.
I mean, if it works. Um,
Yeah.
what's the story
You
with
know,
yourself at the moment with the whole acting? You said there was a big what would you call it on?
well, it's I live kind of a charmed life. I keep busy. I'm in a voiceover class for commercials. I want to expand my horizons. So I'm doing a class one day a week. It's great. I love working with new kind of people. I haven't done a lot of commercial voiceover work, so I'm getting trained for that. Working on an interesting little science fiction script that I'm pitching sometime next week, and then I've got two films offers came in, but I don't know. There's a lot of conflicts. Again, I'm really trying to use. Here's the thing. This is like art of the start stuff. So we have two things in our life. We have urgency and the essential. So I'm not a lazy guy. I like doing things. So and I'm always falling back on my urgency. Oh, I gotta get my wash done. I gotta go here. I got this. These are urgent things. I gotta make some money. Oh, I gotta do my cams. Oh, I have an audition. Those are urgent and they're worthwhile. We have to do them. But we have to be able to differentiate between the urgent and the essential. The essential is what's that thing you want to do for yourself? Maybe you want to get your fitness up. That's got to become essential, meaning that you don't do it just when it's urgent. You do it every day. You do it. It's part of your essence, your essential nutrient, so to speak. So you have to make the goal, the bigger goal you want. Say you want to be a photojournalist, you want to be an athlete, you want to be a musician, you want to be an actor. If that's your goal, that's your overall writing goal. You've got to create an essential need for that, and you got to give that the attention, even when the urgent is calling you. Like, if you, I know there's a lot of people out there who have families, and they do this all the time. Oh, I can't do it because my kid's got this. That's urgent. But the essential is, if you don't make a living, your kid doesn't get to go to that baseball game. So you have to figure out how to get the essential done every day, so the urgent becomes less impactful, and hopefully the essential becomes the urgent. Like when I'm in a good place and I'm writing something, or I'm preparing for a film, that becomes the urgent. Everything else falls by the wayside because it's so urgent. Oh my god, I start this film on Monday. Man, I got to learn my lines. Things become urgent. Become the essential becomes urgent, and you feel the urgency. Oh, I got to get a job. It's urgent, but the essential. Oh, I want a career. I want something I'm going to love doing. That takes more thought. That takes more nuance. It means you got to slow down a little bit and kind of see, what are they? What are the metrics here? What are the elements? What are the pieces of the puzzle that I have? Which ones do I need? And then how do I put them together in an effective way? You know? So that's what I've been doing.
When it comes to getting to work, you said you turned one down, didn't you?
Yeah. I just this morning. It's for a couple of reasons. One is um, the price point. It's to get my time and attention for a week and take me out of LA, away from everything I know and all my routines. It's going to cost some money to do that. And God bless them, they can't afford it. They can't afford it. But I don't need another low budget film out of my I've done my share. I've put my time in. I've got plenty of footage. So, and it's not to be a dick saying, I'm worth more than that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm
Yeah.
saying that I'd rather, for me to give up, a week of my life to focus intently and make that urgent. There's got to be something, some energy coming back in a bigger way. It can't just be the excitement about the movie. I've been in plenty of movies, and I respect the script, and it's great, but it needs to be energy. We sell two things. We sell our energy, and we sell our energy. We sell our ideas, or we sell our physical labor. We sell our ability to handle responsibility and our ability to use our hands and feed our bodies. This is how we exchange value in the world and make a living, right? It's one or the other, but both require energy. The physical stuff is a little more base energy, but the intellectual stuff, creating something, solving a problem with your mind, that is a very thin, it's a different kind of energy. It's different than digging a ditch or driving a car. That's a different energy for me. I can do that mindlessly. That's momentum. But to sit down and figure out a plot line, and figure out how to solve a problem, or kind of figure out to learn a new program for something, it's a different kind of energy, and you can't go like this and dig harder or run faster. You gotta, it's a whole different process. So, but it's all energy. So when we do exchange energy, we need it to come back in a balanced way. If not a profit, the best relationships are when I invest, 10 units of energy and you invest 10 units and I get back 12 and you get back 12. That's a synergistic thing that happens when you're in the right place. You can, 1 + 1 = 3 when people are together we've all been there. We've all left conversations. Wow, I feel fucking great. Oh yeah. You want to do it again because you feel so good leaving. You spent energy, but you feel energy. And we all do this. We all know vampires, right? People just, I can't talk to that guy. He fucking bums me out. But so you have the ability to market, say, okay, I can't invest my attention, my energy, attention is energy, into this person or circumstance, because when I'm getting back, I'll walk away being depleted. I'll have to recover from that. Or worse, I'll have to steal it for somebody else. That's when you pass on a rumor. Hey, did you hear Thomas made $1 million last night? Didn't tell anybody about it. And like, oh, he did. Yeah, Thomas never. And then, it's like you kind of pass it on. So I have to pick on Thomas because he's so quiet.
I think myself and Thomas have been talking about $1 million for the last
Good.
last 2 days constantly. I brought up that question you asked me, like, what would you do if you had $1 million? And then he got asked the same question later on today. Fucking
Yeah, me and my mom were talking
everyone's
about
talking about it.
She did the lotto, and she's like, it was like 19 million. And she goes, "Oh, Thomas, what would you do? Would you stay in college? Would you?" Man, I don't know, because it's all circumstantial, isn't it? Like, I don't know.
No, it's not. And
No?
that's where we all fall short. It is not. I can say this so you can understand it. I'm not saying you're stupid. It's just that I go off on these. No, I'm not saying that, because this is very nuanced conversation. So I firmly believe, I'm convinced, and there is so much evidence. As you think, so shall you become. The thoughts you put in motion is the thoughts you put your attention on. The thought that is repeated becomes a belief that is given energy, becomes momentum. Momentum dictates the quality of your life. This is something I live in. I'll put that up against anybody to make it, it's like the shit you think about decides the quality of your life. So if we're doing things because it's something outside of ourselves, if we're defining ourselves, we're valuing ourselves based on other people's words, thoughts, or actions, we're now a slave to the entire universe, because now we need you can't say that word in front of me, I'm offended. Well, he's thinking this. How the fuck do you know what I'm thinking? Well, I saw you move your shoulder, that means you're this. No, I'm just fucking moving my shoulder. And the problem is that if you're demanding people reflect back to you everything you want to see about yourself, you'll never be happy, because that's not how the world works. That's impossible. Everyone, we are not the most important thing in the room. Everyone else is the most important thing in the room. So, and the idea is this, I'm sort of getting diverged here. The question about what would you do if you had $1 million? It's like, if you were free from the fear that dictates your life, And I used the year in the gym. I said, if we are free of the fear that runs our life, like, and if you can be honest with it, okay, what am I afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of looking stupid. I'm afraid of being destitute, living under in a box under a bridge. Well, whatever fear there is, we have to go straight into it and make friends with it. Like, so why are you in college? I was in college to avoid growing up. I was in college just to keep high school alive a little, so I could play hockey and, keep running around and not be responsible for another 4 years. Well, I was very successful in college. I did that. Didn't become responsible for many years. Why are you in college? Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it because you're afraid that if I don't do it, someone's going to be pissed? Am I afraid because, if I'm, what is the fear? I mean, everyone has a different one. Somewhere in you like, well, I have to go to college or I'm not going to be a good person, or I have to, what is it with you and so the $1 million question is, if you took the fear of not having money out of your life, what would you do? If you were no longer afraid that you couldn't have a house to live, or couldn't feed yourself, or you couldn't pay, let's say all your bills are paid, you have $1 million in the bank, what would you still be doing what you're doing? Do you love what you're doing that much? It's a question. And it's not for you to go and say, well, yeah, I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. No. It's for you to identify, what are you afraid of? What are the fears that keep you kind of locked into a mindset that you're probably going to spend decades trying to reprogram yourself from shit that's not yours. Remember, we are programmed from infancy by our families, by our friends, by our church, by the school you go to, by the neighborhood, by the kind of car, by the TV you watch, by the music. It's all programming us constantly. Music is the most codependent thing. It's terrible. I will die for you. No, don't fucking die for me. Live for me. Live, have a life. Don't fucking die. I don't want you to die. Oh, I'll jump on a grenade for you. No, I'd rather have us fucking not have to have grenades in the environment at that time. And kind of, it's like, if you want to jump a grenade, jump on this fucking self-destructive idea you got about yourself. The idea that if I deplete myself for you, that means I love you. But the price tag is, you better deplete yourself for me. Well, what if I don't want to deplete myself? You give me all this stuff and I keep taking it, and you're an asshole. I give you yeah, but I didn't ask for it. And that's what happens to people. That's a very succinct psychology course. Yeah. But so the idea of $1 million is, what are the things that are driving your perspectives? And if you were to remove a certain fear or a certain concept that has become the focal point of why you do things, would you do things differently? Are you doing it because it really serves you? Or is it because it's just, are you serving something else? And there's no wrong answer here. There's no bad answer. It's more about understanding, it's like learning a language. Our psyches, our mental makeup is like, we have to learn a language, how to talk to ourselves. What are we saying? What language are we speaking?
It's a fucking interesting question. I failed to answer it enough times.
Yeah. Well, what is it? What is your fear? What is your biggest underlying fear?
That's a question for another day. That's a hard topic.
No, that's bullshit. Know right away. You're just afraid to say it. You know.
No, I don't. I don't think about it. I'm a bit more positive than that.
I guess it is not having money though. It's not being able to live dependent. Like you're saying, like that's the whole point of the question, is that you don't have money, man. You can't survive, I guess.
Yeah. So if you take away the infantile fear that we all have, we have. Did you stop recording?
No, we're still recording.
Oh, if you take away the infantile fear is not an insult. As infants, we are powerless. We have no power at all. 100% dependent on our environment, our parents, to sustain us, to feed us, to take care of us, clothing. We have no power. A baby can't walk out there and get a job and buy its clothes. It can't even speak. So we are programmed from a very young age to be absolutely dependent on the world providing us with life, sustenance. And then slowly, it's reinforced all the way right up. And some people never get out of it. They still need the world to survive, and the world does. It's like, the world is our infinite supplier, but we just have to learn to go out there and manifest it on our own. We got to stop depending on our parents or the government to manifest. The government's like a big parent, right? They've turned into a parent. It has two functions: to protect property of the rich people and to make people without property feel like they're being taken care of by this king. The king is taking care of it. So it's it's very it's infantile response. So if you can talk to that infant and say, okay, you're covered. You don't have to worry about making mom happy or dad happy. You don't have to learn to manipulate and with the world. What do you want now that you don't have to manipulate the environment to get what you want? What is it you're willing to go out there and build? What do you want to build for yourself? What would you like to build? And then what's necessary to do that? And then you get to a whole other idea of like what work is. Work is to make money so I can build this. If work is your identity, then you're screwed. If my identity is Sergeant Frank Woods, I'm screwed over. If James C. Burns, if my identity is that I'm Sergeant Frank Woods, then I should be devastated now because, well, they replaced you. You're gone. You're not Woods anymore. Well, I never was Woods. I'm Burns. I play the character. I built the character. Yes, we're very similar, but I am, I'm so many. That is just a small part of who I am. Oh yeah, I did that. Sure. It's fun. And I play with it. But at the end of the day, what is your identity and what are you doing to kind of, a job is something you use to gather resources and energy to live your life. And you make decisions on that. You want to have a family, then you got to provide for it. That your job is to go out there and you figure out a job to get you the right amount of money you need to have a family. But if you don't ever decide you want that, you're never gonna be able to turn the urgent into the essential. Remember that first conversation? So we're back to that again. So all this stuff is, how do you turn the urgent into the essential? And a lot of that is deciding what it is you want, and if you truly want it, and then you take the steps to make it important. And then that's a process.
Fucking dropping bombs today. Jesus. I'll ask you how the weather is. We'll be here for a while.
There's two things about the weather, Jared. It's either hot or it's cold, man.
What does that mean?
I don't.
No.
Well, you should know by now that I rarely talk about the fucking weather, with you guys. We get into stuff here. This is why I like you guys. You're willing to get into stuff,
Yeah. Actually, I had a question there. You brought it up. You were kind of shitting on TV, but you're coming from a perspective of being an actor. So when you're on set doing this shit, are you aware of how ridiculous it is?
Is there a question there?
Yeah.
Sounds like a fucking statement to me.
Oh, that's a question.
No, okay. I think the question you're asking is how do I square my opinions with my profession? It's a great question, by the way. I'm glad I asked it for you. Here's the deal. I know the swamp I swim in. I know the swamp. I know the dangers. I know the benefits. You always have to have a personal desire. So for me, acting is not about the money, although I do like getting paid to be an actor. I love it. For me, it's as an athlete, I had the same thing. And as a musician, for me, I was playing hockey, right? You have a shift would last, say, 60 seconds. It's a microcosm of a life. You have a birth, you have a growth, a middle, and then you have a slow decline, and then you get off, your shift's over. So that one shift, it lasts maybe like a game, right? You have the beginning, You have the growth, you have the drama up and down, and then finally resolution at some point. That's a whole life. That's life. You're born, you do your struggles, you find a pace, and then you build as much as you can, and slowly it erodes down, and life's over. So as an actor, you get to live 1,000 more lifetimes, not just in playing different characters, because the character is just a different aspect. Like Woods and me, we're very similar. Like again, I'm not Woods. Woods is definitely me. Okay.
There'd be people who'd be sad to hear you say that.
Yeah. Well, if you fucking met me, you wouldn't know that. I'm not a psychotic fucking murder machine. I'm far from it. I'm more contemplative than that.
You're gonna have to try to convince me a bit more than that, James.
I've never seen you on the range. I wouldn't know.
Oh, you motherfucker! Listen to me.
Oh well, there goes the monetization. But I know.
Yeah. I hate that YouTube does that. They're so strict with guns.
Oh, they're so fucking assholes.
Yeah. But anyways, but the point is that as an actor, it's like every time I do a scene, a take, it's like the greatest challenge is, can I be present for the time? Can I actually connect to that person? Can I achieve all the things? Can I put, how many layers of me can I put into this one line? Sometimes you get one word. How much life can you put into that one word, that one moment? There's a great acting exercise I used to do. And it's like the line, oh, I forgot my line, right? So it's like you watch, and I used to teach an acting class, and I said, okay, here's your line. And it's funny how people will go up there and just try to say the line as opposed to like, oh fuck, I forgot. That's how it goes, right? Oh, I forgot. Oh, I forgot. No, but live the line. Oh, shit, I forgot. Which is more fun to watch, right? The one where you're living the moment, or the one you talk, oh, I forgot. It's one has more depth. So as an actor, you struggle to have a life in each take. And to me, I get to live life much more every day because I get to do that. Because I'm starting something, I'm moving through it, and then there's a conclusion. And as an audition technique, it's the only one you can have, because you're automatically going to become victorious. Because if your goal is to have
I might have frozen.
Great experience, and be present. I want to remember the casting director's eye color. Oh, I want to remember, just say you choose a goal that you can obtain, and then you run your whole process through that, because you can't get the job. You can't demand the job. I mean, as a star, you can, but for the rest of us, you got to go in there, and you don't know why. I wouldn't have gotten Woods if it wasn't for Dave Anthony. Obvious Activision, there's so many jobs that I can't tell you why I got it. Or I especially can't
that sounds
tell you
pretty
why.
dodgy.
I can't. I don't know why they picked me over somebody else. There's a dozen guys who look just like me, who sound just like me. How did I get it? What happened? And there's so many times I didn't get gigs. Like, are you kidding me? They hired that guy over me. There's no way to control that, so you don't try to. Again, we never define ourselves by other people's words, thoughts, or actions. And getting hired is someone else's action, and you got nothing to do about that. So just find your own way, find your own thing, and bring that with you everywhere you go, every circumstance. So that means,
go on.
That means like jobs. You got to find a reason to do the job that's not about the reward. The reward's got to be something else. The job is going to be it's got to be the soup. It's got to be the stove you're cooking your soup on. It can't be, the job itself cannot be the reason you do it. It's got to be something that gives you the capability to do what you want to do. Like for me, being an actor, being on set gives me the capability to practice this thing I do. Under pressure, how can I handle pressure? Is it urgent? Is it, how do I get, that's, again, your job is a stove that you cook your soup on. I love that. I'm gonna write that down. I think I love that.
And were you happy with your other jobs when you like before you were an actor? Because you started being an actor like why in your 40s?
Yeah. I was a hockey coach for many years, for decades, and I was as a hockey player. I made some money doing that. I out of college, um, I had this weird. I was a mess in college. I mean, I was a freaking mess. Like you guys are so together compared to me in college. I was a fucking mess. So I wanted to be a hockey player, but I had a terrible relationship with my coach. I got booted off the team my senior year. I kind of turned pro. I played some pro games, but I didn't really catch on because I just wasn't in shape at the time. I wasn't playing. So I had this girl who I really could have married, and I just took this job because I was living in fear. Like I gotta have a job. Oh my god, I gotta have a job. So I took a job making weapons at a company called Con Diesel, and we built these pontoon bridges. We built howitzers, and we built something else too. Anyways, I remember the I was working the midnight shift. I was a glorified welding foreman, which is what I was. And I remember watching the TV. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just kind of trying to stay awake. And Britain had just gone to war with the Falklands, right? The Falkland War just started. And I was on TV and I was watching our howitzers, our 155 howitzers. And it kept breaking. Like the stanchions, the support stanchions, that's our welding shop. And they kept fucking breaking. And every time you watch it and you see they'd be firing and you'd see the stanchions splinter open. This is aluminum metal, right? I go, fuck. And it was just, and I would just, it was just so wrong in so many ways. It was just like, it's an insight, like it's not a world I want to be in. It's awful. I mean, and I didn't make a lot of money at it. So when an opportunity came to play hockey, I took it, man. I left like the same day. I got an offer to go try out for a team up in Glens Falls called the Red Wings, and I literally walked into my office. Hey, I quit. He goes, whatever you got, now I'm fucking going. You're gonna leave the house. I'm going. I just walked out. He goes, you'll never get a reference from me. I go, fucking Mulvey, I don't want one. I'm going, man. See ya. And that was it, man. This is the last real job I had. Was that. I owned a restaurant was a partner in a restaurant. So I owned it as a partner. And I've done things like, when I was in college, catering jobs, but I've either made money doing hockey stuff, or I made it as in this business.
That sounds pretty freaky. The Falklands bit, like just seeing your own stuff that you worked on.
Well, to see it fucking fail. Like I was like, oh fuck, those just fucking ripped apart. One check, oh my god, yeah. And I remember the DCAS. DCAS is the Department of, it's a government that it's their inspection. It was their inspection service. It's called DCAS, Department of Civil something. I can't remember. But they used to come in and we used to X-ray all these welds, and they'd come in and we would just dread it, and we just hope they would just like sign off on it, because we didn't care. We're a bunch of college kids trying not to get yelled at. It's like, and you got all these welders who just fucking hate them. Like, I'm a blue collar kid, right? And because I went to college, it was a good college in the same town, and the college was like, really highfalutin school. I had no business being there, and I had good marks, but anyways. And the locals hated everyone who went to the school, because it's like a little Ivy League school. And then I got the job. They just hated my guts. I go, no, I wanted you, man. I grew up in a factory. And they used to lock the doors on me and let the air out of my tires and just give me it's just a nightmare. I just hated fucking working there. Steal my lunch. One guy would, it's just, please just don't make us go out and talk to the workers ever again.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking rough.
Funny.
Man, someone's stealing your lunch. How much of a dickhead do you have to be to take someone's lunch?
Well, I think, I don't think it happened in the vacuum. The guy who was the plant manager was a Vietnam vet. Actually, a lot of Woods, and now that I think about it, a lot of Woods behavior is built on, I can't say
Give us a sec now. Let me fix this. Tree. And we're back. It was my fault. PC problems. You know the crack. James, you were just talking about a knife fight and a lad's first kill.
Not my
Uh,
not my knife fight. I was never in a knife fight. But
Because well, in the fight, the other guy didn't have a chance.
yeah, right.
Jesus.
No, what happened was what I was talking about when I was my first job right out of my senior year in college I got it actually, and the general manager of the plant, I was working at a weapons plant to be, and he was a former Vietnam vet. I believe he was a Green Beret. I can't remember, but he told me about he was there when he was 19 years old. He's just a kid. And he told me about his first engagement when he shot somebody. And he was telling me that somebody, a VC came up out of a tunnel hole. And when he did, he turned and he said he put one right in his forehead. And he was like, and he goes, but it was the strangest thing because it was just this little dot in his forehead, because it's a 223. It's a small round. It's not a big round. Right? He said 5.56. She said, no, it's 5.56. I think anyways, it's a small caliber round right here. And he said, he goes, and the guy kept looking at me. And he goes, I didn't know what they got. He goes, I thought that I miss him. And then he said, I just shot him a whole bunch of other times. But I just remember the incredulity of him. It's like he just shot somebody in the forehead and they're still standing there looking at him. Like it's just and of course with the adrenaline and he's time really slows down, the adrenaline's flowing. And the story was amazing. I mean, it got pretty graphic as to what he did once when a guy didn't go down, he unleashed the whole magazine on the guy. That's a fully automatic M16. Oh, maybe an AR-4. Anyways, fully automatic. So he imagined what he said the end result was. But it was just so graphic and he was just so disconnected from it. It's like, that's what I did, And then he told me about, he had hit 18 confirmed. And he told me about each and every one. He remembered each and every one. And he told me that he told me about a thing he had with a knife. He was, I don't talk about that. Anyways,
Yeah.
The guy's probably not alive. He was a heavy drinker. He was angry. He's the kind of guy that's going to die from cancer, but before he's 50, he's just a really angry dude. And after the stories he told me, I can't imagine why he wasn't. I mean, just what a horrible thing to go through when you're 19 years old,
It's fucked up.
So second, you said like you shot the lad in the head, and he kept looking at him. My mind went straight to, with like adrenaline and everything. That must have felt like an eternity. What like from an outside perspective, it might have been like only a second.
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, it felt like he said, I just, it was shot. I know I hit him in the head. He was only 6 feet away from me. And he goes, and the guy stood there, and his body was still moving. And he said, and I just, like they say, fucking panicked. And I just fucking pulled the whole trigger on him, And he says it probably happened within a half a second, but it felt like it was a minute. He goes, like it felt like the longest time, and he was terrified that he was ineffectual in combat, that he wasn't able to take. Like he said that the panic he felt, that he wasn't able to handle himself. Like he's in it. This is like a dream where his weapon wasn't effective against the enemy, but it was real life. And then he's just panicked, eventually there was evidence that this guy was no longer a threat. I don't tell you. He told me very graphically what happened, but I'm not going to share that.
We'll dodge that. No, that's yeah.
But
We're so removed from that now, because even if you look at like, for example, like a game that's based around that time, if you played Cold War, there's a bit of it in Vietnam, but like you kill a guy, you move on. It's you're doing it for the crack, but like when lads were actually there at the time, that's fucking horrifying.
Yeah. Well, he said to me that, which I found interesting. He said, rarely did they not check the aftermath of the engagement. It's just rarely did they do that. I think he was in some recon unit. I really don't have clear memories on it, but he said that they were very, very adamant about because they had to report because the federal government really wanted very strong. I think he was there like late 69, early 70s. So, and he was saying that they really had to account for bullets. They had to account for everything. And so having a basically a body count was important. And plus they would always searching for intel, things like that. So he says, rarely did we not see the aftermath. He goes, just become an exercise to it. He goes,
Man, that's
You're
yeah,
so young as well, 19, like
19
that's
Wow.
younger than us.
Yeah.
it is, yeah, literally.
Fuck.
And the guy probably couldn't get a fucking drink after, like.
Oh, stop.
he come home, he couldn't vote, right? Yeah.
Jesus, man, it's so fucked.
Yeah, that's weird. I always found that weird about the States, and I think all of Europe and the rest of the world makes jokes about it. Like, you could basically do everything else in the world except have a drink. You can be
Yeah,
married,
no.
worked in the army, blah 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 blah, and
You can vote.
no drink.
You can vote. Well, I think remember, we were formed by Puritans. The Puritans came here, so we have that in spades. It's part of our national DNA. It's like abstinence and not drinking and that kind of thing. So, but I don't think there's there's an 18-year-old in this country who's never had a fucking drink. I'm pretty sure you find a way. I know I did. You know, yeah. So I don't think it's, there's a legality to it, but yeah, I don't know. It's an odd conversation that we never have. We have a bunch of, in America, we have a bunch of odd conversations that we never have.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd imagine there's a lot of people going to Mexico or going up to Canada to get a drink.
Yeah.
Thomas, imagine that. You have to go up to Northern Ireland to have a drink. How weird would that be?
Be an odd woman. Definitely weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was supposed to go over to the States last year. It was really odd because I'd be staying with my aunt and uncle. But like I wouldn't I'd been drinking for legally about a year or two, but like I'd been drinking
Effectively
for
16.
yeah, but like I've been drinking for around 4 or 5 years regularly.
Yeah.
Well, not regularly, but going to parties and shit like that. But it just seems so weird. As soon as I get over there, it's like, nah, not allowed at anything. It's so odd.
I can't fucking drink in the States. That fucking blows my mind.
Yeah, it's a weird culture shock. Again, when you think about it, like, what is the rationale to it? Again, you can send a kid to war at 18, you can get married at 18, you can do all these adult responsibilities, but you're not allowed to, handle. You can drive a vehicle. I think it's
16.
I think it used to be 16, but I think California's 18 now. You can drive a vehicle, but you can't be trusted to buy your own alcohol at 21. I don't know I should look into the rationale. There must be a rationale for that someplace. There's got to be a reason.
It was set up to reduce drink driving.
Okay, that makes sense.
Reagan.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense to me. Sure.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Like, at least in Ireland, like, there's like parental consent when it comes to it. Like, if your parents say like, oh, it's Christmas, you can have a glass of wine at 16, that's fine. But I don't know, do you guys even have that law? Like, that your parents can decide if you can do it at home?
I think there's an understanding on the outside of the law that what happens in your house is your business and nobody else's, up to a point, up to a point where,
Yeah, I was about to bring up domestic abuse.
Yeah, up to a point. But if you're not causing physical and mental harm to people, if you give your kid a glass of wine with Christmas dinner and he's 12, why not? If it's, well, no, but it's like, that's again, a sip of wine doesn't mean you're a fucking alcoholic. It's mean, it's like it's part of it's part of a culinary tradition. It's actually, whenever I have a piece of meat, I always have a glass of wine because it just makes the experience better. It makes I just feel better when I have a glass of red wine with a piece of meat. I just feel it makes me feel better physically when I digest. So I don't know. That could be my suggestive reactive to it. I don't know. But yeah, there's an understanding that say on my fucking house, my house. Leave me the fuck alone in here. Who I sleep with, what I do, how I raise my family. It's not your fucking business. I believe in that. Up to a point, you can't prostitute your kids. You can't, beat your wife with a stick. But at the same time, whatever happens, and that's no one's business.
Absolutely. And my final question before we head on is, what are you working on at the moment?
What am I working on?
You got Art of the Start, and you were saying something about writing something?
Yeah, Art of the Start. We haven't talked about Art of the Start yet, have I?
No.
No. So I've been working on. We talked about it earlier, so I'm confused. We had a pre-conversation here. So I've been tracking all these self-help channels on YouTube. Some and most of them are great. A lot of ex-Navy SEALs doing this, men's training, which Robert Bly, we started reading him back in the 90s. Very legitimate stuff. These guys are all very legit, and there's some MMA guys who are doing these high-end training things, and you got Jan Glazer, who's got his elite boxing and all this elite fitness stuff. But when I look at it, and I bought some of the programs, I read them, and they're really starting everybody for me, let's say it's a climbing a mountain. For me, they're starting them off at about 2,000 feet. And this is legitimate. But you got to have some level of experience with pushing yourself through discomfort or differentiating pain from discomfort. You got to have some experience to understand what they're doing with it. Because again, guys like Navy SEALs, they're like professional fucking athletes, man. They're so head and shoulders above the average person in terms of what they've gone through, what they know. And I know sometimes I have this problem as well when I try to talk acting to people. You do something long enough, your baseline is so much higher than the average person. So I'm not saying dumb it down, but you got to chop it into much finer pieces that are more digestible. So the art of the start is just that. How do you get started at something? Yes, I want to climb the top of that hill and be a professional athlete or even just a high school athlete. But I've spent my first 12 years of my life eating Cheetos and playing video games, and I have no muscle tissue at all. I can't even do a push-up. Well, if I go into some guys say, okay, drop and give me 20 kind of vibe, you're not going to last very long. And if you do, it's going to be, chances are the average person is going to be building up fear and resentment and intimidation. And that is no way to build a sustainable training method. Like you got to turn the urgent into the essential. How do you turn it to the essential? So the art of the start is going to be about how to get started from the very instead of being 2,000 feet, we're going to start from maybe 6 feet below the zero. What if you're below
starting
zero?
Off from debt.
Let's get back from debt. Let's get back from I don't know how to wake up in the morning. I don't know how to move my arm in a straight line. This is real. I don't know how to walk properly. This is the thing. A lot of people who haven't walked in a while. They're walking on they're walking on their joints, not on their muscle tissue. These are things that if you get this in alignment, you get this moving, after a month or so, you're going to have a really good foundation that you can build off of. Then you can go grab, one of these great programs. But if you don't know how to, again, differentiate between discomfort and true pain, am I emotionally pain here? Is it actually physical? Why am I resisting it? There's a thing you discover when you do extreme training is that we operate at about 40% of our capacity most of the time physically. And I've done this. I used to race bikes, and we did these ultra bike races that went above 130, 140 miles. And you get to a point where you can't do it anymore. And all of a sudden your body just says, oh, wait a minute. And something clicks. And then also you have endless energy. It's like, this is crazy. And I've tested it with some of my hockey players with curls, just keep going. And, kids curl 15 pounds, 50 times. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, I can do this. The body just gives in. It's like, it'll do what you tell it. But if you tell it, it's limited. It will be limited. If you tell it, no, you can do this. You can do this. It will do it. The body will do exactly what you tell it to do. So for me, the art of the start is going to be getting your brain organized so you can actually do things. And how do you get your brain organized? How do you get your thought process lined up so you can actually, learn as opposed to achieve? Like learn how to do this stuff, and then you start gaining momentum, start gaining strength, start getting, and this is for anything. This is whether you want to get fit, whether you want to become an actor or an athlete. It's just how do you get started Or maybe you just want to learn a editing program. Well, how do you get started? You got to build the environment first. You got to build the place. So when you go into when you work construction, so you go into like the sea beach or something, you go into the jungle, you want a landing strip. First thing I do is get somebody in and cut the trees down. You don't send in the pavers and the payloaders. You send in the guy with a chainsaw. He starts cutting down trees, and then you start with a very basic thing. So how do you get a guy in there? Well, he's got to hike in. Where's the nearest road? You got to find the easiest, the simplest access point, and then build from the very small thing, like learning how to get out of bed in the morning. One of the tricks we got is set your day up. Like when I go to bed at night, like I have my clothes for tomorrow laid out. I've got my to-do list. I make sure that the dishes in my sink are clean. I got coffee. I got things set up. So I can just roll through that. But it takes about 15 minutes of time to set up your next day. But once you get it set up, it's easy to do. If you have to wake up and figure out, oh, wait a minute, where are my sneakers? Oh, I want to get to the gym by 7, but it's 6:30. I don't know where my sneakers are. There's so many obstacles. But if you spend the night before, okay, here's my sneakers, here's my socks, here's the water I'm going to take, and you line it up, it just falls in place. And that's like one of the first tricks is to create the environment that allows you to move to get to the activity, because there's so many things that got to support the activity. It's not just going to the gym for an hour a day. You've got the 15-minute walk or drive to the gym. You got so you had the time before and the time after. And all these things we tend to not remember when we start something. So this is about teaching how to break down what you're doing into the smallest, most attainable thing. Anybody can go out and figure out what clothes they're wearing tomorrow. Wear my jeans and a t-shirt. Okay, put that over here. You've already solved the problem. You've already given yourself more time tomorrow. And the thing is, at night you're already active. You're already moving through it. So these are the things that we're going to try to focus on and create good habits with.
And when's the first episode?
Don't know yet. I'm still writing it up. It's probably either going to. Someone mentioned about. Did you tell me about Twitch? Was it you?
Yeah, I think Twitch is the move for you. What you do.
Yeah. So I may do it over in the Twitch platform. I might do it. We'll see.
Right.
I've no problem helping you up with that one. Anyway.
Yeah, that'd be great. I appreciate it.
Well,
so yeah,
fellas, I got a hard stop in 5 minutes.
All right. Well, good. Fine. Tell me to shut up. That's good. James, shut the fuck up. You talk too much.
Yeah, that's my big thing. I always get people who don't talk to get on the podcast. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm actually really interested in that now, because you're right. Like a lot of them start from high altitude, and most people aren't there yet.
And it's not a criticism of what they're doing. It's just that it's, that's for them. That is zero for them. That is a starting point. But we just, they probably don't have access to people who aren't highly functioning, or at least, want to be functioning. But as a whole, I think part of the malaise and part of the overall thing that's happening now is that people don't know how to get started. You just had a year, 2 years of downtime, and so few people got things accomplished in 2 years of downtime. That's got to be really frustrating. And now life is happening, and you're feeling like people feel like they're behind. They're being left behind. Yeah, because you didn't know how to get started. So I'm like that too. I'm like 2 years too late to get this. I should have been doing this back in spring of 2020.
Well,
you should be doing this.
What you did instead was you started your show. You went pretty hard at it. Started about the same time as us, and you amassed 107,000 subscribers so far. I don't know how many millions of views, and then like the lads you've helped along the way. So, I mean, you did
well. I have one small advantage.
And what might that be?
I don't know, man. I may have a little bit of visibility there may be like 150 million people who know who I am. There's that one small advantage. So if we were to compare actual metrics, you start from 0 and go to where you are, and me starting from, who doesn't know Sergeant Frank Woods in the Call of Duty universe? So I'm easily recognizable. Now I only got 107,000. So your success ratio is much higher than mine. So don't I captured what 0.0001% of the people who know who I am. Sorry, man. That is not a that's not an achievement. Okay, that's just luck. I haven't
I like
done
the way you look
anything.
at it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's statistics, man. There's
Mm.
three kinds of statistics, right? There's statistics, damn statistics, and outright lies. Is that how it goes? No.
What was the second one?
Well, what's his name? Mark Twain said there's three kind of statistics. So statistics. I can't remember what it said anymore. Just go back and watch the tape. No, there's statistics. There's statistics, damn statistics, and outright lies. So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to it. You're pretty sure you're live tomorrow, but this episode's gonna be out Monday, so a day too late.
Okay. Well,
Look, man, I wouldn't want to disappoint you.
We can advertise yours tomorrow.
There we go.
Tomorrow we'll advertise show for you. You know, that's how we do it. That's how we roll here, man. That's what we do.
Yeah, no, I love the way you do your shows. They're brilliant. I'll be there tomorrow. Looking forward to it. But if people want to check you out, James, where can they find you?
I'm usually sleeping in my bed most of the day.
And what's the address there? Get the postal code over at us.
At the house? Yeah, I'll give you that. Come over. You know, there's a shotgun in the corner.
All right, so if you want to find out where James lives, that'll be in the description.
Yeah.
Along with his security code and code for his house, all that.
No, just come on in. Just come on. We're well armed. We're not afraid of anybody here. What I would appreciate is come over to James C. Burns on Instagram. That'd be great to follow over there. We're gonna start using that platform a little bit more. Twitter is James C. Burns on Twitter, and of course Sarge's Corner on YouTube channel. This is where you find me. See, they're so excited they're sending the fucking police over here right now.
Yeah, but don't worry, the shotgun's in the corner. So there you go. If you want to check out James, you know where to find him. If you got this far, fair play to you. We're gonna head on. So stand up for tuning in. Take it handy.
I agree.